Chosen ones, heaven approves your millionaire destiny. Claim it. Listen to me carefully, dear friend. There is a reason you have found your way to these words, and it is no accident. You feel it in your heart, in the very center of your being. Heaven has been speaking quietly to you, guiding you, whispering promises of unimaginable abundance, unstoppable purpose, and life-changing transformation. Today is not just another day. This moment is not just another checkpoint in your routine. This very second is the turning point of your destiny. A destiny that heaven has smiled upon, approving you for millionaire status in ways beyond mere finances. If you have ever doubted whether you are worthy of this, let me tell you, you would not be here if God, the universe, or your chosen name for the divine did not have something extraordinary in store for you. Pause for a second to breathe. Inhale, exhale, feel that warmth rising in your chest. That subtle stirring is heaven's confirmation that you are the blessed one, the individual singled out for miraculous favor. Your wealth, yes, the tangible earthly wealth of money and resources, is on the horizon. But this is not just about piles of currency or luxurious comforts. It is about being chosen to steward blessings, to elevate your life to a realm you once believed was only for an elite few. Let me say this with authority. If you want to witness the unstoppable flood of these blessings, if you wish to signal to heaven that you are ready, do 3 small things right now. First, hit that like button on this video. Second, subscribe so you can continue to receive these divinely guided messages. And third, scroll down and comment with the number 777. This sacred number represents heavenly alignment, signaling your soul's readiness for the gates of millionaire destiny to swing wide open in your favor. My friend, you stand on the threshold of greatness. For so long, society may have told you that extraordinary wealth is unattainable, or that only those born into powerful circles can experience unstoppable abundance. But that was a lie. Heaven is bigger than any limitation man has conjured up in his own mind. When heaven approves you for millionaire status, your background becomes irrelevant. Your previous mistakes and limitations evaporate under the light of divine favor. The illusions of not being enough dissolve when placed in the hands of the Almighty. If you can feel your heart racing just a bit more swiftly right now, take comfort in knowing that it's the resonance of truth. Your spirit, the deepest part of you, recognizes these words as a long-awaited confirmation. You have prayed in secret, wondered if the day would ever come, questioned whether you deserved more. Here is your answer. You are chosen. That means no one else can steal this blessing or overshadow what God has specifically ordained for you. Close your eyes for a moment and visualize the breakthroughs that are heading your way. The phone calls that will open up new opportunities, the unexpected promotions, the sudden alignment with mentors who have the knowledge and connections you need. The moment you commit to accepting that heaven has approved your millionaire destiny, a surge of divine energy will begin weaving events, people, and chances together in ways you cannot yet imagine. If you remain faithful, if you hold tightly to this promise, you will see it all unfold with flawless timing. But dear friend, let's talk about the shadows that have tried to convince you otherwise. Throughout your life, you may have encountered doubt, fear, or a crippling sense that you were meant to stay small. Maybe you had voices, parents, peers, society saying, "Don't dream too big, be practical, settle for less." Those voices ring hollow when compared to the mighty decree from heaven. Those old scripts are illusions that try to keep you locked in mediocrity. Let me tell you straight, the illusions are powerless against a heart determined to step into its rightful inheritance. Yes, let me call it an inheritance because that is precisely what it is. You have a heavenly legacy with your name on it. A legacy that includes material abundance, but also influence, favor, and a deep sense of fulfillment. There is no shame in desiring financial freedom. When you prosper from a divinely sanctioned place, your prosperity becomes an instrument for good in this world. It becomes the seed that nourishes your community, the leverage that rescues others, the resource that multiplies joy in every corner your light touches. Imagine for a moment being in a position where your finances are no longer a source of stress or limitation. How would that feel? How would you spend your days, your energy, your love? Would you help family, sponsor charitable endeavors, create scholarships, or fund dream projects? Would you travel, experiencing the world as an ambassador of compassion and generosity? Would you invest in emerging innovations that heal, inspire, and transform society? None of these dreams are far-fetched. In fact, they are part of the reason you've been granted this blessing. Heaven does not merely hand out wealth arbitrarily. There is a higher purpose to the resources coming your way. You might be wondering, how do I know this is real and not just wishful thinking? The simplest answer is that the longing in your spirit to step into a grander life does not appear out of nowhere. Those desires have been planted by the same cosmic creative force that shaped stars, galaxies, and oceans out of nothingness. If God can spin entire solar systems into existence, is it really so impossible that God can open the gates of millionaire destiny for someone with your name, your face, your story? Absolutely not. You are already loved, guided, and cherished beyond comprehension. Why, then, would the divine place limits on how that love manifests in your earthly experience? Let me share something. There are countless stories of individuals who began with nothing except a spark of faith and a fierce, unstoppable conviction that the heavens had endorsed their journey. They rose from poverty and obscurity to become pillars of achievement, wealth, and generosity. Their testimonies echo a common theme. The moment they believed, truly believed, that they were chosen for something special, the entire universe seemed to conspire in their favor. Doors that had been sealed shut for years suddenly swung open. Allies emerged from unexpected places, and skills they never realized they possessed began to blossom. You, my dear friend, are no different. You possess a seed of greatness, and that seed is actively reaching upward, longing to break through the surface into the radiant warmth of the sun. Allow yourself to be that radiant success story. Allow yourself to outgrow the narratives of lack that once dictated your possibilities. There is nothing vain or selfish about pursuing a destiny that elevates your ability to impact the world for good. This is not about ego or greed. It's about stepping into the fullness of what heaven has authorized on your behalf. Right now, I want you to affirm this with me. I am chosen. I am worthy of heaven's millionaire blessing. I open my heart to receive every resource, every alignment, and every connection destined for me. Breathe those words in. Speak them. Let them fill your mind, your spirit, your bones. Whenever doubt sneaks in, repeat that affirmation until doubt slithers back into the shadows where it belongs. This is part of your power as the chosen one. You have authority over your thoughts, your destiny, and the energies around you. Let me nudge you again. If you haven't already liked this video, if you haven't subscribed, and if you haven't typed 777 in the comments, do that now. Not as a superstitious ritual, but as a physical symbol of your inner yes. In so doing, you are essentially proclaiming that you stand firm in the conviction that heaven is on your side. A single action in the physical realm can reinforce monumental shifts in the spiritual realm. You might think it's just a comment or a click of a button, but trust me, it signifies so much more in the grand tapestry of synchronicities weaving around you. Now, about that word millionaire. Let's unpack it for a moment. Some might cringe at that word, worried it's shallow or too materialistic, but understand this. Millionaire is less about the sum in your bank account and more about the consciousness of abundance you are stepping into. It's a label that pushes you beyond the confines of petty survival, catapulting you into a realm of generosity, creativity, and leadership. When we say heaven approves your millionaire destiny, we're talking about a divine endorsement for you to elevate your financial capacity so you can fulfill a sacred assignment on earth. That assignment might be to heal your family lineage of scarcity. It might be to champion a cause that transforms entire communities. It might be to birth new solutions that the world desperately needs. In any case, the resources are heading your way for a reason. Let's be real. Money is a form of energy that can be used for creation or destruction, for liberation or oppression. When someone chosen like you handles wealth, that wealth is sanctified, directed to uplift, to bless, to restore, to ignite hope. This is precisely why heaven delights in endorsing you for riches, because the divine knows you will not hoard it in the shadows of greed, but release it as a river of blessing. So cast aside any guilt or confusion surrounding financial prosperity. Did you know that many spiritual texts across various faiths celebrate the idea of living in fullness rather than lack? God consistently shows that a prosperous life is part of being aligned with the divine's nature of generosity. Yes, trials come, yes, lessons arise. Because it is in overcoming those trials that you develop the character, wisdom, and humility necessary to wield wealth responsibly. But when the final word is spoken, it is that you are destined to be the head and not the tail, blessed in the city and blessed in the field. Your name carries a heavenly signet ring, marking you as one who can handle the glories and responsibilities of resource stewardship. Have you ever considered that your struggles might have been an advanced training ground? Each financial pinch, each sacrifice, each time you had to rely on faith when dollars ran thin, was preparing you. It was molding your perspective. It was teaching you empathy for those who still languish in lack. It was expanding your capacity for gratitude, and it was fortifying your resolve so that no fleeting adversity could ever convince you to walk away from your higher calling. When you emerge from those trials carrying the armor of wisdom and the sword of faith, you become an unstoppable force. Because not only do you have the desire to do good, you also have the first-hand understanding of what it feels like to go without. That empathy is the foundation upon which your new millionaire life will be built. You will never forget the sting of lack, and that memory will propel you to do right by every blessing that flows your way. At this point, let me remind you, the path is not guaranteed to be smooth or free from challenges. Think of a seed pressing upward through soil. Darkness, pressure, obstacles, these are part of the journey. But the seed, compelled by an inner code, keeps stretching toward light, trusting that eventually it will break free into open air. You, precious soul, are that seed. You have an inner code, heaven's code, written in your very DNA, urging you toward your millionaire destiny. Let no fear keep you from allowing that code to manifest. Let no momentary difficulty convince you that the soil is too thick or the obstacles too great. Heaven has decreed that your destiny is unstoppable. No force on earth can bury you if you decide to push upward. If you're listening and a voice in your head says, "But I don't have the right education, I come from the wrong background, I'm already too old, or I've made too many mistakes," hush that voice now. Look at the tapestry of human history, time and again. Those with the bleakest beginnings, those riddled with painful mistakes, those others counted out, have soared to the greatest summits. The difference was their unwavering commitment to the notion that they were born for more. And you, dear friend, hold that same unstoppable spark. The illusions are only illusions if you give them the spotlight. The second you choose to turn your back on them and run into the arms of your heavenly promise, illusions scatter like shadows before the sunrise. Let me ask you directly, are you ready to see miracles unfold in your bank account, your career, your creative endeavors? Are you prepared to be the one others look to in awe, asking, how did they transform so fast? How did they go from lack to overflow? Because once you anchor your faith in this unstoppable truth, once you claim the label of chosen one for millionaire destiny, the pace at which things shift might astonish you. Opportunities that were never on your radar will appear. People of influence will call you. News of breakthroughs will greet you in your inbox. A sense of supernatural timing will invade your life. And in those moments, remember to remain humble and anchored in gratitude. Offer up your thanks daily for each open door. Acknowledge the source of your blessings so that your heart remains aligned with the higher plan. Because yes, while you are meant to enjoy the blessings, you are also entrusted with them. Let your spirit remain teachable and open. The same heaven that approves your millionaire status is also the heaven that can enlarge your wisdom so you can direct that status for good. Let's talk about generosity for a moment. True abundance is never about locking yourself away in a fortress of wealth. Real abundance multiplies when it's shared. Imagine what you could set into motion if you sow seeds of prosperity into the people, causes, or communities that matter to you. Your giving would not diminish your resources. It would anchor you even deeper into the divine flow of never-ending supply, because every time you open your hand to bless someone else, heaven sees a steward who can be trusted with more. Yes, that's a big principle right there. The more you give responsibly, the more you are positioned to receive. It's a spiritual law, a cosmic boomerang effect. When you contribute to the betterment of others, the universe circles that kindness back to you in ways beyond your imagination. This is how you build an unshakable foundation. Instead of money controlling you, you control money with a spirit of generosity, wisdom, and faith. Let me share a quick vision. I see you walking into spaces of influence, boardrooms, conferences, gatherings, where your presence alone shifts the atmosphere. People feel your integrity, sense your authenticity, and are drawn to collaborate. Deals come together smoothly, not because you are manipulating or pushing, but because you carry heaven's endorsement. You speak, and words of clarity flow. You meet challenges, and solutions blossom effortlessly. You become a beacon that others cannot ignore, because there is a golden aura of divine destiny around you. That is the power of accepting heaven's nod of approval. Remember, this is not just a pep talk. This is an activation. As you hear these words, as you allow them to sink into your consciousness, you are being activated to walk in the fullness of your millionaire destiny. This is a spiritual event unfolding right now. Faith is being ignited, old constraints are loosening their grip, and you are being recalibrated into alignment with the path God has set forth. If you feel tears, chills, or an overwhelming sense of urgency, know that these are signs something profound is happening at the level of the soul. And do not keep this activation to yourself. Let others in your circle know that something life-changing is upon you. Invite them into your journey, or at least let them witness the transformation that is about to take place. When your life becomes a testimony of radical abundance, it'll spark faith in everyone around you. Friends, relatives, neighbors will marvel at the shifts in your circumstances. They'll come to you with questions, seeking the secret to your unstoppable success. When they do, speak freely of the divine source of your blessings. Invite them to turn their gaze upward, to stand in their own chosen identity. But be ready for the naysayers too. You might encounter individuals who scoff at the mention of heavenly favor, calling it wishful thinking or superstition. Some might say wealth and spirituality have no business mixing, but their skepticism should not shake you. You, chosen soul, understand that the divine is the ultimate wellspring, capable of fueling both your spiritual growth and material expansion. Wealth in your hands is not a corrupting force, it is a channel for love, creativity, and healing to flourish. Yes, you can be both deeply spiritual and unapologetically prosperous. This is the new paradigm that is emerging, and you are at the forefront of it. Heaven's stamp of approval on you as a millionaire is not just a reward, it is a mission to demonstrate what happens when faith meets diligent action, when heavenly wisdom meets human responsibility. This synergy births the unstoppable force that changes not just personal fortunes, but entire communities. So do not shy away from the magnitude of this calling. Embrace it fully with every cell in your body, every breath in your lungs. Look at history's greats. People who combined deep faith with courageous enterprise. They built hospitals, orphanages, schools. They funded scientific breakthroughs, championed humanitarian causes. They showed that wealth is not something to be worshipped, but something to be wielded for the highest good. Today, you join their ranks, stepping into an ancient lineage of earth changers who understood that living in alignment with heaven's plans naturally brought forth more than enough resource to accomplish extraordinary tasks. I can almost sense the stirring in your soul. It's as if a dormant seed is bursting open, cracking through the shell of limitations. No doubt old voices might rear their heads, telling you to be realistic or to keep your hopes modest. But you know better. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not yet seen. You are not being naive. You are being faithful. Faithful to the conviction that you were not born to merely exist, but to flourish. Faithful to the subtle, yet constant nudge from heaven that says, you are more. You can do more. You will have more, so you can give more, live more, love more. As your mind absorbs these realities, keep your energy open, keep your heart soft. The metamorphosis you're undergoing is profound, and sometimes it can stir up tears, laughter, or a swirl of emotions. That is absolutely normal. You are letting go of old patterns that said enough is enough, or life is barely scraping by, and adopting a new pattern that proclaims life is abundant, my future is bright, and I am chosen to walk in supernatural provision. If you have not yet dropped a comment with 777, I encourage you again. Take that leap, not for my sake, but to seal the deal in your own spirit. Type it as a bold declaration, a rallying cry that you stand in agreement with heaven's blueprint. If you've already done so, take a moment to close your eyes and imagine thousands of other chosen individuals around the world doing the same, collectively raising a chorus of faith that resonates across the spiritual dimension. You are not alone in this journey. A global community is awakening to the same clarion call, stepping out of lack and stepping into unstoppable favor. I want to address one more thing. The difference between waiting passively for a miracle and actively co-laboring with heaven. You are not meant to sit idle, expecting a bag of gold to fall from the sky. The guidance you receive in your quiet times, the ideas that spark in your mind at random hours, the opportunities that appear in your path, these are clues, stepping stones. Your job is to act on them. Listen intently to that still, small voice guiding you to make certain decisions, approach certain mentors, or invest in certain ventures. When you marry faith with action, you become a conduit for the supernatural to manifest in the natural. Reflect on the story of the widow whose small jar of oil continued to multiply as she poured it out to fill vessels. From the biblical accounts. Her miracle was ongoing, but it required her active participation. She had to keep pouring, keep finding more vessels. If she had refused to do her part, the oil would have never become the endless supply that rescued her from debt. So it is with you. Keep pouring your gifts, keep learning, keep building networks, keep expanding your capacity. Heaven has endless oil to pour into your life, but you are the one who provides the vessels through which the miracle flows. No matter how miraculous your calling, it remains vulnerable if left unguarded. Part of claiming your millionaire destiny involves vigilance. Guard your mind against negativity and self-sabotage. Fill your environment with reminders of who you are becoming. Vision boards, affirmations, music that uplifts your spirit, relationships that celebrate your growth. When fear tries to creep in, remember that fear is simply faith in the wrong direction. Pivot swiftly back to the truth that you are chosen and unstoppable. Also, do not be afraid to dream bigger. Often we limit ourselves by aiming only slightly above our current circumstances. Heaven, on the other hand, is infinite in scope. If you aim for the stars, you might at least land on the moon, whereas if you aim for the ceiling, you might remain crouched under the illusions of impossibility. Dare to see yourself a decade from now, leading philanthropic movements, backing life-changing initiatives, providing job opportunities, uplifting entire family. Dare to let the flame of possibility roar into a bonfire that consumes every last drop of doubt. As you deepen in this journey, you will find that your millionaire calling is as much a spiritual practice as it is a financial one. Each step you take, each risk you embrace, each success you celebrate, invites you to trust heaven more deeply. You realize you're dancing with a divine partner who choreographs the steps, so long as you keep your heart open and your willingness surrendered. The further you go, the more you will sense that this is not about money at all. It is about stepping into your highest expression, about letting your life be a canvas painted by the brush of infinite love and grace. Does your spirit feel lighter? Do you sense your perspective stretching beyond the walls that once confined you? Good. That is the sign of expansion. You are standing now in the antechamber of your new reality, and soon you will walk fully into the throne room of your destiny. Take a breath, savor this anticipation. In a moment I will continue, and we'll dive even deeper into the unwavering truths that confirm your place in heaven's plan. But before we go further, I must check. Do you desire to continue hearing more? Because the story is far from over, and there is so much more to unravel about your unstoppable path to millionaire transformation. Picture in your mind the seed of faith within you, which has now sprouted beyond the surface. It's emerging from the soil that once felt suffocating. You might recall days or even years when you questioned whether this seed would ever see the sun, whether the divine was truly listening to your silent tears and midnight prayers. But now, you see proof that your cries have not been lost. They have been heard, and each tear watered the soil in which your dream was planted. Heaven's approval of your millionaire destiny is not just an abstract concept. It's a tapestry of real, tangible changes weaving together a new reality. You might already sense small shifts. A phone call you weren't expecting, an invitation to collaborate, a random message that lights a spark in your mind. Or perhaps you've had a sudden burst of creativity, or moments of intuition that prompt you to take steps you never considered. These are not coincidences. They are heavenly signposts, guiding you in the direction of your ordained abundance. At the heart of this journey is trust. The kind of trust that surpasses mere optimism. Optimism says, I hope good things happen. Trust says, I know good things are already prepared for me, and I'm moving toward them every single day. In practical terms, trust might look like saying yes to an opportunity, even when you don't see how it all comes together. It might look like writing down a plan for a dream business, even when your bank account suggests you can't afford it yet. Or maybe it's as simple as standing in front of your mirror each morning, affirming, I am chosen for extraordinary wealth, and I carry the mark of divine favor, no matter how outlandish it seems to your rational mind. There is a passage often quoted that says, walk by faith, not by sight. You walk by faith when you continue stepping forward despite the intangible, or before any outward proof fully emerges. In walking by faith, you give your spirit permission to claim a future that others might label impossible. And ironically, once you label something possible in your heart and spirit, it begins to rearrange the outer circumstances to match what you hold within. It's also important to remember that while the path to your millionaire destiny is radiant with heavenly endorsement, it can include moments of friction. Remember, the friction is not a sign of denial. Rather, it's a refining process. Metal has to face the heat of the furnace to emerge as a purified, gleaming substance. You too might face times where you're challenged to release old grudges or limiting beliefs. You might need to confront aspects of your character that no longer serve your highest destiny. That's okay. Every refining flame is purposeful, and each test is a mirror showing you where more growth is needed. When such moments arise, face them with courage and curiosity. What is life teaching me right now? Which part of my soul needs to be stretched or strengthened so I can hold the vast wealth and influence heading my way? By asking these questions, you transform adversity into a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. This mindset doesn't just help you cope, it elevates you to a vantage point where you see every challenge as an opportunity for deeper alignment with your calling. At times, you might feel impatient. Days or months could pass without the thunderous manifestation of what you desire. But remember, even the most majestic trees do not grow to their full height overnight. They press upwards steadily, day after day, season after season. Likewise, your journey is unfolding in perfect timing. Even when you don't see the evidence, trust that seeds are germinating beneath the surface. Those who rush the process often uproot what was meant to flourish if only they had allowed time for it to grow. Reflect on the many historical figures who walked a path of unwavering faith long before results took shape. Think of Harriet Tubman, who led countless souls to freedom. She did not wait for a perfect moment or a guarantee of safety. She listened to divine nudges in her heart, and that trust produced miracles. Similarly, your unwavering faith, even when circumstances appear contradictory, will usher in the kind of breakthroughs that defy human logic. And do you know what sets faith in motion with unstoppable force? Decisive action. Yes, your decisions matter deeply. Sometimes people have illusions about faith, imagining it means sitting still and doing nothing. But true faith is dynamic. It compels you to move, to try, to build, to create. Pay attention to the hints that flow into your mind. Maybe it's an idea for a side business, a plan to invest, or a sense that you need to expand your skill set. Whatever those nudges are, they are signposts from heaven, telling you how to prepare for your next quantum leap. They might feel daunting at first, but that is where trust transforms fear into fuel. When you take action under heaven's approval, even small steps can lead to monumental impacts. Picture a single match lighting a candle in a dark room. That tiny flame is enough to reconfigure the entire space, chasing away shadows. One email you send, one introduction you make, one event you host can become the catalyst that shifts everything. Remind yourself, I carry the authority of heaven with each step I take. That kind of self-talk is not arrogance, it's alignment. Arrogance claims credit for oneself. Alignment attributes the power to a greater source, while affirming that you are an instrument of that power in the world. Now, consider how your environment might need to shift as you accelerate toward your millionaire calling. Are there people in your circle who constantly belittle your dreams or sow seeds of negativity? Gently but firmly set boundaries. While you can't always remove every skeptic from your life, you can certainly limit how deeply their words enter your heart. Curate an environment, both physical and digital, that uplifts you. Surround yourself with music, books, videos, and mentors that echo the voice of possibility. This doesn't mean you deny reality or live in a bubble. It means you actively cultivate a mental and emotional space conducive to growth. Also, reflect on your daily habits. Each day do something, no matter how small, that aligns with your vision of an abundant life. Maybe that's setting aside a sum of money into a dedicated savings or investment account, no matter how modest. Maybe it's volunteering to keep your heart grounded in service. Or it could be journaling affirmations of gratitude and success. These practices are like bricks you lay, day by day, creating the sturdy foundation on which your millionaire destiny will stand. Without consistent actions, even the grandest prophecy can remain unfulfilled potential. What about the role of gratitude? Gratitude is a multiplier of blessings. When you cultivate a grateful heart, you turn up the volume on all that is good in your life, signaling to heaven that you are prepared to steward even more. Begin each morning with a simple moment of thanksgiving. I am grateful for the air in my lungs, for a heart that beats, for the mind that can dream, for the resources I do have, and for the unstoppable blessings on their way. Allow that gratitude to shape your mood, your outlook, and your interactions. As you remain grateful, you will notice how opportunities feel drawn to you, how difficulties bounce off more easily, and how your spirit remains luminous through every season. There is a concept known as seed sowing. In many spiritual traditions, giving is seen as an act that primes the flow of abundance. When you give, whether financially, with your time, or your energy, you demonstrate to the universe that you believe in a perpetual cycle of plenty. Your giving is not forced. It's an overflow of the recognition that you are, indeed, blessed. And so you pay it forward, sowing seeds that will inevitably yield a harvest. This, of course, is not a manipulation tactic. You don't give just to get. You give because you trust that in the cosmic dance of creation, generosity is how you keep energy circulating. The more freely it flows out, the more powerfully it returns. As you sow seeds, watch how your compassion and empathy grow as well. You won't be the kind of person who hoards wealth to flaunt it. Instead, you'll embody the principle that says, "Because I have been given much, I too shall give much." That cycle of generosity forms a powerful shield around you. It wards off the traps of greed, fear, or misuse of power. It aligns your heart with the highest intention for your wealth, to be a blessing in a world that yearns for hope. Whenever you find yourself questioning whether you truly have it in you to become that generous multimillionaire, remind yourself that the blueprint is already in your soul. If you weren't equipped for it, heaven wouldn't place this call upon your life. Look for examples of others who once stood in your shoes. Countless stories abound of people from humble beginnings who rose to greatness because they dared to align with the vision swirling in their heart, refusing to let present circumstances dictate their future. The difference between those who step into a miracle and those who stay on the sidelines is often just one bold yes after another. In your journey, it helps to stay connected with testimonies, stories of triumph, transformation, and unstoppable favor. Keep your eyes open for real-life examples of how quickly life can pivot when the divine is involved. You'll find that people who believed for expansions in finances, career, or service to humanity often encountered breakthroughs they could never have logically orchestrated. This will fuel your faith. And when your faith is fueled, your mind naturally stays open to solutions and strategies. Suddenly, ideas for a side hustle pop up, contacts who can help you show up at precisely the right time. Each step of the way, you'll whisper under your breath, "Thank you. I know I'm not walking alone." Let's reflect on something crucial: humility in the midst of ascension. You might ask, but if I'm stepping into wealth, how do I stay humble? Understand that humility and greatness are not opposites. True humility recognizes that the source of your greatness is not just you. It's a higher power, breathing life into your dreams, enabling your steps, and granting you grace. When you anchor yourself in that understanding, You can stand tall without belittling others. You can celebrate your success without arrogance, because you realize it is a shared victory. Heaven, you, and all the people who will benefit from what flows through you. Also, remain teachable. A teachable spirit means you never stop learning, even when you've reached certain financial milestones. You'll read new books on leadership, discover philanthropic models, study emerging market trends, and engage in meaningful dialogues with those who are masters in their field. Each layer of knowledge refines your capacity to handle the increase that's arriving. This is why big success and big wisdom must grow in tandem. One without the other can lead to imbalance, but together they shape you into a powerful catalyst for good.